Welcome back to a universe of mystery. Today we'll be exploring the disappearance of Joe Elliott Blakesley and Amy Linkart. In September 2013 at Craters of the Moon National Monument in Idaho. The remains were eventually found between September and October of the same year. Joe Elliott Blakesley, age 63, was a physician who worked at a correctional institute in Ontario, Oregon, while Amy Linkart, age 69, was a retired school teacher from Lowell Scott Middle School in Meridian, Idaho. The two women met while doing missionary work back in the 1980s. The two friends embarked on a journey in September 2013 and headed for Craters of the Moon National Monument. Unfortunately, they never returned from their short hike. Now, I've been to Craters of the Moon. I was there in 2014. It is an absolute beautiful but treacherous landscape. It's old lava flows that have hardened to jagged, sharp rocks and caves. There's caves all over the place, and you would have to be absolutely out of your mind to leave the marked trail. There are jagged rocks that you can't even step on without the threat of falling through a cave. While we were there, we did hike a few trails, and we did explore a few caves. This national monument is located in central Idaho. It was established in 1924, and it's situated along US 20, concurrent with US 93 and 26, and it lies between the town of Arco and Cary, with an average elevation of 5,900 feet. This volcanic region is one of the best preserved flood basalt areas in the United States. The region is composed of 3 major lava fields, spanning a total area of over 1,000 square miles. And you do not want to get lost out there because literally it looks like desolate wasteland as far as the eye can see. Joe and Amy were reported missing on September 23rd after Dr. Elliott Blakesley's colleagues alerted the authorities when she didn't show up for work. Due to a federal looming government shutdown, the official search did not begin until October 1st. However, 10 rangers did respond and started the search without the aid of federal money such as dogs, rescue teams, and helicopters. Joe and Amy were last seen at a nearby campground in Arco, approximately 18 miles from the park. Authorities discovered park receipts, which had shown the women visited the park on September 24th. Their vehicle was later found at the Tree Molds Trail parking lot. Their dogs, cell phones, purses, and other belongings were found in the truck. Now, it is important to note that at Craters of the Moon, dogs are not allowed on the trails in the park. They're allowed in the parking lot and certain common areas, but they don't allow them on the trails. The terrain is so sharp and jagged, it's just not safe for dogs to be there. And the surface of the rocks can reach up to 150 degrees in some cases. When the search was expanded, they discovered Amy's remains in a lava field north of the Tree Molds Trail. Amy was found on the rocks, laying face up, with no backpack, no jacket, no food, no water, none of the essentials needed to survive. Authorities believed that she had become disoriented because the direction she was walking was kind of facing towards a highway that you could see in the distance, and authorities believe she eventually just succumbed to exposure, but no foul play was suspected. Initially, the searchers thought they had found Joe, but after a confirmation of dental records, it was found that was actually Amy's body, which isn't surprising given how much the two women do look alike. After an additional month of searching, authorities did recover Joe Elliott Blakesley's remains about a mile from where Amy was found, and it was about 2.5 miles away from where their pickup was found. And this was an area that search helicopters had flown over, but it's believed that the way the terrain is set, and they just couldn't spot her from above. She blended in right with the rocks. And she was kind of found inside one of these caverns. So her body was obstructed from the air, and she also appeared to have succumbed to dehydration and exposure to the elements. Since Amy and Joe were not seen since they had checked into the park, there were no witnesses on the trail, so nobody's quite sure about how they got separated or why they separated, but authorities concluded that it could have been that one of them was hurt, so they decided to split up so the other one could go get help. And it's not surprising to me, because if you venture off that trail, It is very easy to hurt yourself or get stuck, get a leg stuck or twist an ankle. But the question still remains, why were they found so far away from their truck when all indications pointed to where this was supposed to be a short hike, leaving the dogs in the car, leaving their cell phones in the car? And it's just believed that they became disoriented. There were reports, I couldn't find consistent reporting on this, but there were reports that the weather had started to shift and a storm was moving in. So maybe it got foggy and they just lost their way. As mentioned earlier, maybe one of them got hurt and the other went to seek help and got lost and headed towards that highway, the only place she could see for help in the distance. But that distance is very unforgiving, and it's hard to judge just how far something is away in that terrain because everything looks the same. It's like seeing a ship on water that you think is right there, but once you start swimming towards it, you realize how far it is. So the conclusion by the authorities was just that they were found, that they got separated, possibly injured, and they had just succumbed to the harsh Idaho elements. What do you think happened to Amy and Joe? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe, like, and share. It really helps the channel, and it really helps me to bring more videos like this.